Hey there, Goblin Horde. I am the Goblin King, and I'm here for you with another anime review. I took a week off as I explained in my Monday video, and now I'm bringing you the anime that I would have brought you last Thursday. So, it's been a little bit since I watched it, and I'm trying to kind of refresh myself a bit as I go along. So, please, bear with me. Anyway, this anime is called either In the Land of Leadale or The World of Leadale. Going through the posters and stuff for the thing to get my thumbnail all set up, I saw both of these titles. Now, I'm not sure which one is the real one. When I was looking for the title font, the Google results said In the Land of Leadale, as well as the wiki entry did. But the site I pulled it from had it as The World of Leadale. So, that's what I'm going with. Just giving you all a heads up in case you all decide to go and watch it yourselves. Now, this is another one of those Isekai anime where the main protagonist gets sucked into a video game world. Along the lines of the one I did a couple of weeks back, she professed herself People of the Wise Man. It even has a similar preface to that one, with the missing time element and all. So, Leadale is a VR MMORPG. Yep, another one. It's apparently immensely popular, and a girl named Kana uses it pretty much all the time since she's confined to a hospital bed and on life support for a reason that's unspecified in the anime. I'm not sure how she's using VR tech when she literally can't breathe for herself, but I'll accept it so we can move on. When the power goes out in the city she's in, including the hospital because I guess no backup generators to power those pesky life support machines, Kana wakes up in her character's body from the game. A beautiful high elf girl named Kana. Same name, just spelled differently. I didn't catch that in the anime because I don't remember the anime actually saying her real name. Anyway, there's obviously no gender swapping going on in this one, but there's still plenty of comedy that doesn't come from that obvious source. So she wakes up in a village she doesn't recognize from the game and soon finds out that 200 years have passed in the game world since she was last conscious. See, that's a bit more of a leap than the one that happened in Pupil of the Wise Man. In that time, the game world has pretty much completely changed, and all the kingdoms and areas she was familiar with as a player are pretty much gone. When she goes to check up on her old stomping grounds, she is reminded that she had 3 children that she created through the game's adoption system. As seems to happen in this genre, these characters all became real people, of course, and have become some pretty significant bigwigs within the world of Leadale. Over time and the course of her personal mission, she learns the reasons why the game shut down and that several other players were all trapped within it as well. Now, I'm not going to front. Breaking this one down in a non-random manner was rather difficult due to the structure of the anime itself. It's an issue that I've been kind of harping on with the last few reviews, so I'll definitely get into that in just a few. First off, Kana is a rather fun character in and of herself. Due to her circumstances, she had logged a massive amount of hours within the game itself and had, thus, become very powerful and had even become what is known as a skill master. I guess this also, according to the wiki, had the added benefit of making her an assistant admin within the game world, which is probably something that the anime will get into if it has further seasons. So, now we know she's OP, but that wasn't really much of an issue within this anime. Her character was actually fun, and she was bright and cheerful much of the time. The added comedic element of her character is that there are certain types of behavior that will set her off, and she gets ultra-violent when it does. A situation which results in many lulls. She's fun and funny and an all-around likable character. The OP stuff wasn't really played up all that much within the anime that I saw. I mean, obviously it came up a bit because we wouldn't know she was OP if it didn't, but it wasn't something that was showcased heavily and made a central facet of the show, like with Overlord or People of the Wise Man. Believe me, if it had, I'd be bitching a lot more right about now because the show was so centrally focused on Kana that it was almost to the exclusion of every other character on the show. Even when I was trying to find images of the characters I could use in the thumbnails the way I do, I could only find images of her. Anything that featured any other characters were generally screen grabs from the show itself. Now, I'm not complaining about that at all. The main character should always be able to carry the show, which she was able to do simply because she was a good enough character to do so. Even overpowered as she was, I had zero problems with her as a character. The only thing I can really bitch about in that vein is it makes a review like the kind that I do that much more difficult since the other characters didn't get nearly as much screen time. That being said, Scargo, which I'm certain is a play on Escargo, is the oldest of Kana's adopted children. He's a male high elf and serves as the high priest for one of the 3 main kingdoms in Leadale. He's billed as being quite lovely physically, and has a radiant, personality. We'll just call it that. He's also one of the more comedic characters due to his massive mommy complex. Mai is Kana's second oldest kid. She's a female high elf who was once the kingdom's archmage and now serves as the headmistress of a school for adventurers. She also has a bit of a mother complex which manifests itself as wanting to be coddled. She's also a bit of an airhead and is constantly fighting with her older brother Scargo in a sort of competition for their mother's attention. She also has 2 children and a grandchild. Kartats is the youngest child and he's sort of the odd one out for the little family, being a dwarf. He serves as a master shipwright for the kingdom. He's the most level-headed of the siblings, which makes sense if you've read as much fantasy and played as much D&D as I have. He's the one that Kana takes to the most and is incidentally the one she coddles the most, though she has a habit of showing her affection to him in public, which he doesn't like, since he has to keep up his image as a gruff, tough boss. There are a few other characters as well, such as Leet, a young village girl that Kana took a liking to when she first woke up, as well as her grandchildren and great-grandchild. There are some other villagers, knights, adventurers, and other player characters that make up their appearances randomly throughout the 12-episode run, though none of them appear in any more than a handful of episodes throughout the entire run, including the 4 that I just mentioned. The anime, as I said, was very much focused on Kana herself. Now, again, this show had the same, I'm loath to call it an issue or a problem because it wasn't either of those, not really, but it had the same basic setup plot-wise that I actually did bitch about with the last couple of anime that I reviewed. That being that the plot was basically non-existent. There was no overarching plot to the anime, nor was there even a dubious mission that Kana could put off while she was running about the world doing random errands that served no real purpose. It was legit just her out exploring the world, meeting other characters, and doing her own thing. There wasn't even really a deeper mystery about why the game had shut down, since that was revealed within a handful of episodes. Now, there were some small clues as to something shadowy happening behind the scenes, but they weren't really put front and center, and, having read the wiki entry, I notice them more now and know what they're alluding to. So it looks like there's fixing to be an actual plot in possible subsequent seasons, but that wasn't really shown in this season. The world itself was pretty standard fantasy fare. They had some interesting set pieces, like the town that was a sort of mixture between Asian and Western aesthetic choices, sloped roofs with castle walls and windmills, that sort of thing. That was pretty cool looking. All of the artwork was really good. All of the characters were rather interesting, if a bit tropey at times. You have various different interpersonal relationships that were shown that could be easily capitalized on in later seasons. Also, the characterizations, the jokes, and the comedy were good enough that they had me going any number of times. Overall, this was a pretty good, solid anime. Not great, but not nearly as annoying as the last few I've sat through. I really enjoyed that Kana being completely OP wasn't really showcased that much at all. That was definitely a breath of fresh air. That entire trope was honestly getting to be aggravating since I'd sat through, at least 3 anime that had that as a characteristic of the main character. The only other thing, I think, that I can really comment on is how this one was definitely targeted toward a more female audience. Now, it's not nearly as girly as Ascendance of a Bookworm or another anime I watched recently that I can't remember the name of. I mentioned it in one of my other recent reviews. Man, those ones are definitely girly. This one was only a bit girly. Still perfectly enjoyable to watch for a dude, though. So, yeah, despite it being slightly girly and the OP main character, this one is a solid watch for some pretty nice art and character designs, good voice acting, enjoyable characters, and typical goofy anime comedy. Definitely a strong 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Has its flaws, but still fun. And yeah, I think that's all I can say about this one, weebs. Let me know what you think of that handy section down below. While you're down there, I really got nothing for this one. If you like what I'm doing and you want to join my big green horde, you can do so by crushing those like and subscribe buttons, like a goblin. If you watched the video this long, I love you. I don't love you as much as I love Johnny Depp, but I do love you. I'll see you all tomorrow for some FNT and pop culture fails. See you then. Lates.